Hey there, this is Niels Beardwood and today we are making an elf style bag. For engraving and cutting out I use a laser here, which basically replaces the work of a box cutter and a swivel knife. After cutting out on this pattern there's quite some hole punching to be done. Here quite some round holes and also some smaller chisel holes. Beveling the edges is always a good idea to break the edge and prepare it for burnishing. After this we can start to moisten our leather from both sides. Note I'm using badge tan leather here. When the leather is still cool on the touch but mostly dry, we can start with our tooling. Here I use a beveler to get these engraved lines more depth. Since this is a bag with the style of the nature and elves, I use green as a base color and some brown as well. To seal the leather partly and prepare it for antique gel to give it a more aged look, I use some resist. If you put it on the edges as well, you can use the moisture directly to burnish it, which means polishing the edge up, which makes it glowy and looking really nice. When the antique gel is dry, I use some antique gel, put it all over the piece, and then use a paper towel to just wipe away all the excess, so it only stays into the cuts and cracks. Another coat of resist just to keep the antique gel in place. Next we're going for some accessories. First cut a strip of thin leather and moisten it. Get some thick wire and fold it 2 times. Cut it off and pack it closely. Wrap the leather around it, use a bone folder to create the edge and punch some sewing holes and sew it. You want to keep the thread ends. Cut away as much excess leather as possible, bevel it and burnish it to press it completely down, just like this. Cut a circle for the head. Mark a cross in the middle and use an awl to cut an invisible sewing canal on the flash side. Also cut some sewing holes at the end of the steel. Then use the remaining thread to sew the head on the steel. Moisten the head and shape it. At the end of the shroom there's part that is more flexible and has no wire in it, so that's where we want to sew it on. Punch some holes, put the shroom through and sew it on the other side. For the other shroom, the base piece needs to be a little bit thicker, so we glue 2 layers that are mirrored onto each other and then heavily bevel one of the sewing edges that will be on the very base, so it stays in an angle up from the leather, and then we just sew it on. For the flower we need a pearl that we will put at the end of a thread and then just fill on all the different flower pieces. Note that I have shaped them before already. Now we have all the pieces and can start putting them together. We also need a way to close the bag, so here I'm putting on a pressure button. At these side pieces you got the option to put on a D-ring to make it a shoulder bag as well, but this is optional. After sewing the pieces together we are almost done. That's what is missing is the flower. Position it wherever you want and just sew it on. And this is it. This is a bag of a pattern I have done in a simpler version already, but here I upgraded it with some nice details like the shroom, the flower and the mandala, and I hope you liked it because I really did. So let me know what you think about this. Also be sure to look at all the other videos and patterns I got, and see you guys next time. Have a great day!